I always assumed that in the sequel to Neighbors, they would have Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne be leading a fraternity, and then have Zac Efron and Dave Franco be the annoyed next-door neighbors. Maybe that's why I don't write comedy, but in the sequel to Neighbors, Neighbors 2 Sorority Rising follows Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. They are a married couple, they have another baby on the way, and ultimately a sorority moves in next door, and a lot of the stuff that happened in the first movie happens again in this movie. That being said, these Neighbors movies remind me a lot of the Home Alone movies now. The first one's ultimately more classic, it's a more simple premise, but the second ones are so absurd that you love them too. Because Neighbors 2 Sorority Rising is pretty good. First of all, this movie's supposed to be funny, it's supposed to make you laugh, and this movie has a lot of really funny gags, and it's a lot of really slapstick humor, like, the airbags going off and stuff like that, but that does work really well for this movie. You don't feel like too much of Neighbors 1 is being rehashed either, like they introduce enough new concepts, it's really good. One of the new concepts they introduced that I really liked in the humor aspect is that they introduce a lot of, like, political and cultural humor, like those jokes about sexism. Not sexist jokes, just jokes about sexism. Like, there was some line, you can't be sexist to men or something like that. It was just this really funny, like, culturally fueled thing I thought was pretty funny. But beyond politics and just normal jokes, this movie did have, some emotional moments here and there. Like, Zac Efron's character is kind of, still coming into who he is. He's still trying to find a purpose in life. Plus, these girls in the sorority are trying to, like, figure out friendships and, like, make their way through college and stuff like that. So you do feel for some of these characters in emotional parts of the movie. That being said, this movie's not jaw-dropping or anything. I mean, some of the jokes are really clever, some of them are just, kind of chuckle-worthy. This is a very satisfactory, very gets-the-job-done type of movie. It's a sequel to Neighbors that isn't better than Neighbors, but is still funny and still, accomplishes a lot of the same stuff that Neighbors did accomplish. Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne were good together in the movie. Zac Efron and Dave Franco were a good pair in the movie. Chloe Grace Moretz, newcomer to the franchise, did really well as well. The cast was good overall. The script had some cool lines here and there. And I will say this was a decent comedy and a decent comedy sequel. You don't get too many decent comedy sequels. So I'm going to end up giving this movie the same grade that I would give Neighbors, which is a B. Lots of slapstick, but definitely very funny. But guys, those are just my thoughts on Neighbors 2. Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. You guys can also go over to mymoviethoughts.com if you want to see more posts from me. You guys can follow me on Twitter as well. I'm at John M. Hayeck. Links to both of those in the description down below. You guys can feel free to subscribe to this channel too, and like this video if you did like it. Share it around with some friends as well. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching.